If he really is strategic, and if he's thinking about, BATNA, then maybe his BATNA thinking is again very tactical in nature. What it means is that he basically thinks that he can, get the more earnings this way, that the stock market has supposed to be keep moving back and forth. Because when he does give 1 cent statement, the stock market goes up, the oil prices go down. And then he gives the other statement, then it goes other way around, and his friends and all of the investors are making money. And so he believed probably that maybe his strategy, that's what he want to do, and that's what his legacy is going to be. He doesn't really care about the long-term legacy. He only care about short-term tactical money-making, and his friends and allies making money, no matter what happens to poor people and what happens to economy in the long run, and what happens to sanctity and trust of this country and long-term standing of this country in the whole world. Look what's going on with China. Very long-term strategic, very, very, I'll say, very, very solid approach. Whereas they're not even talking, but look at, they are ahead of the game in all kind of industries, from chip industry to AI to satellites to, look at their car auto industry, look at their trains, look at even that they are making their own jets. So that's, and their war machine is also way ahead of the game. They're making, jets and fighter jets in coordination with many countries, including Pakistan, and they're making the, J-17 Thunder and other, in collaboration with Pakistan, in fraction of the cost. And they were able to defeat, French jets and, and some other very, very expensive technologies, in India-Pakistan war. So the thing is, America is lacking in their long-term thinking. And like I said, if we think he is strategic, and if he think his BATNA is better alternate than negotiable agreement with Iran is basically not having the contract. If that is his alternate, then not having the contract, and then I can just keep going back and forth, then that is also very, very short thinking. That's not going to produce long-term stability in the economy. Now, if he doesn't even know BATNA, he doesn't have any BATNA, then basically he is just keep going to do, this whole tactical negotiation where he basically believe that he can just keep pounding and keep empowering, and one day he will get the resolution. Unfortunately, we just don't see this whole thing technically and strategically, because look at now from the Iran's perspective. If Iran really, understand the long-term game, strategic game, technical game, then they need to have their BATNA. So what is their better alternate than negotiable agreement? So there was an MOU, and, Trump wanted Iran to sign, but they did not sign. Why? Because they see their BATNA. They know their alternate is they're not having the agreement. If they don't have the agreement, they will, have their integrity. They can also, threaten all the U.S. assets and all the allies' assets in the area. They actually can still sell through their corridors with Russia and China. They already done it. They survive, but then they can keep developing their technology. So if you believe that you're going to totally demo them, they know that's not going to happen. Because if U.S. right now, Iran wants U.S. to send their troops. Because if Iran does end up getting U.S. troops, unfortunately, they are very, very bad ramification for U.S. And then the U.S. population is not gonna, the U.S. population is already against this war. And if we send, can you imagine if we send our troops and we, God forbid, have, thousands of deaths, this country is gonna go, really berserk on Trump. So Iran's BATNA is that they have their corridors, they know how to live within means. They produce technology, pennies on the dollar. And even if they don't have a contract, they don't really die without the contract. But if they have the contract, then they want to have, it's a solid, executable contract, which can be trusted. They don't want to have a situation where they just have a contract and within a month, or 2 months, or 3 months, or 6 months, the contract is breached and nobody is abiding by it, and then that would be bad for Iran. So Iran has their BATNA, understand their BATNA. Does US have our own BATNA? And do we even understand BATNA? And BATNA is only understood for long-term visionary strategic people who are analyzing the situation technically. I gave you example of somebody going for, higher salary without really preparing and analyzing the situation might end up be just losing, one in the bush, one in the hand, because it didn't have anything else in the bushes. So basically you think that I'm willing to, I'm willing to lose one in the hand, the job on hand, because I believe I have a value of $150,000 in my previous example, and I just go out and I have many jobs. You might not have it. So you better analyze it, technically prepare it, and strategically have the other offer before you negotiate, further with your employer. So, so if you want to really analyze and understand Trump's philosophy is that his BATNA is that he's going to keep going up and down, and that is actually helping his friends and allies and his own conglomerate, where they are making money shorting. They're making money when things going down, and they're making money when stock market is going up. They make money both ways. And that is a very, very tactical approach, and that does not really give you a long-term BATNA to progress your economy, your country, and your standing in the world. You're losing your leadership. You may be winning the battle, but you lose the war. You are absolutely, if China keep you busy, and we ourselves, we keep ourselves busy in these small, naive things, then we will not have our eyes on the big technology which is coming along. We will not have our eyes on, who are the big players coming, which economies are growing faster, and who is going to become the leader and going to be accepted as a leader of the world. Think about it. If we continue our situation and we keep making ourselves laughing stock in the, especially in the Gulf, then all these Gulf countries who hired us to be a hired gun to protect themselves and have all these bases, now these bases, instead of protecting them, become the biggest threat for their economies. So then why do you think they would want to have those bases? Because those bases for those countries are really, mines. They are ready to be bust. And when those mines bust, their economies will be, basically destroyed. Why would they want to do that? So that's another BATNA Iran has, and we don't have. So like I said, if we want to really understand this entire game, then we need to understand how to set our BATNA. First, knowing the BATNA, and then setting the BATNA and having the BATNA. Because you may understand the BATNA, but then you may not prepare yourself to create better BATNA. So you better have the BATNA, before you keep going. Otherwise, unfortunately, you have no choice but really head to the wall, and that wall goes nowhere, and your people suffer. And I hope we use this analogy and understanding for our daily life, as well as for our jobs and businesses and economy, that at every team and project level, we always need to analyze our situation technically, have a strategic plan, and develop our BATNA. May God bless you all, and happy 4th again. Thank you.